Hi, this is ATF Sinner of the Polish death black metal band Hate, and you're listening to the Bloodshed with Vampire on Metal Messiah Radio International.
Adam, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to have you here, to be able to talk to you. And I want to welcome you to the Metal Bloodshed with a Vampire on Metal Messiah Radio International.
All pleasure is mine. I'm really glad to be here, to be your guest, and I'm willing to answer all your questions, everything you have there.
Okay, you're very welcome, Adam, and never forget that Metal Messiah Radio is your home.
Thanks very much, man, for this declaration. I appreciate it.
Hate is also celebrating 30 years, Adam, of activities with Rugia, you guys' new album. What can the fans expect with this new offering, and what are the band's plans in celebrating this 30 years?
I think releasing this album itself is you can treat as a kind of celebration, as a kind of summary for those 30 years of madness of this band. But frankly speaking, I think we'll be working on some special release next year. I think it should be in the form of a DVD, of a concert, covering our last 3 albums as well as some other, stuff from the past, even from a distant past, from the 90s. Yeah, that's the general idea of celebrating this 30 years anniversary. And I think next year we will focus on it. This year has been too busy, I think, with the new album, with producing the videos, for example, and all the other stuff around this album, everything that is connected with the album. So, the proper celebration is going to be the next year. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
Yes. And what can the fans expect of this new release?
Well, the album Rugia is like the third chapter of the longer story, which started on Tremendum 2017, then Auric Gates of Veles 2019, and now Rugia. They all share the same big theme, which is Slavonic mysticism, Slavonic mythology. And this album is also built on this, lyrically wise, as a tribute to Rugia, the ancient island or archaic island, with very special place, religious and the military hub for the Western Slavic paganism. And if you ask me, I'm sure we will have an opportunity to say more about this, but if you ask me about the music on the new album, because this was your question, I suppose, the new album, I think it has all the main features of our music. You can say that it's like 100% Hate album. Also coming back to the roots a bit, because there are more technical death metal parts on this one, I think, because death metal of the 90s is where we come from. So you can hear this as well on this album. And also the ambient elements, the black metal or doom monumental elements in the songs as well. As I said, it is like 100% Hate album with all the necessary features in it.
Adam, I really didn't know that Tremendum and Auric Gates of Veles was like a story, one following each other, and together with Rugia, this saga ends here, or it might continue.
I'm pretty sure it will be continued on the next record as well, because Slavic mythology is a great source of inspiration. It's a big topic, it's a big theme, and very inspiring, I think. And also personally, to me, is very inspiring. It's meaningful because I rediscover my deeper, more profound identity. I'm a Slav myself, and this is like a part of my genetic makeup. So it will definitely be continued in the future.
Very great to hear that, Adam. Okay, for those new fans, Adam, Hate initiated as a straight death metal band, as you said, in the 90s. At that time, the Polish metal scene was reaching to the standard measure from the all well-known bands like Behemoth, Vader, yourself, Hate, were among the frontiers of the underground metal scene as they took a major step towards extremity. How was the metal scene back then, talking about in Warsaw and in Poland in general, Adam?
Yeah, well, you're asking me about the really prehistoric times, but as far as I can remember, the scene was really, really active back then. There were many bands coming up, and I think this whole avalanche that you may call the Polish death metal phenomenon, it started from Vader, obviously, because they were the first band from Poland, from behind the Iron Curtain that made their name internationally. I think Vader actually inspired a lot of bands from Poland and elsewhere, to pursue this international career, and we were definitely one of them. So I think this was a very important inspiration from everybody. Of course, there was something like the Polish death metal school, okay? It formed pretty early in the 90s, I think in the first 5 years of the 90s, probably something like that. And then you had a lot of bands that became long-standing acts, as you see, okay? Later came Decapitated and Lost Soul and many others, okay? So this is still a very, very active scene, and new waves of, death or black metal bands are coming every few years. Since then, yeah. As I said, it's a kind of phenomenon. There are lots of explanations to this, I know, but it wasn't part of the question.
Adam, but Heat, yes, you found Heat. Together with drummer Mittloff, introduces this brutal threats of death metal and a aggressive approach to this music as you quickly became well known. How did you decide to form the band? And please present us the band's current lineup.
Yeah, it's true. I started the band with Mittloff. He is now a drummer of Crvsade, which is a prog rock band, well established, very active. If you ask me about the lineup, are we talking about the present lineup?
The present lineup, yeah.
Yeah, the present lineup looks like this. Besides me, there's a guitarist, Deamon, and he's been with us for like 6 years now. And the bass player, he's been in the band for, let's say, 4 years. But he was in and out for some time, okay, but he was closely associated with us. Sometimes he was replaced by some other guy. Right now, he's a stable, permanent band member. And also, we have a new drummer on board for this album, because our previous drummer, Pavlon, he had a very serious health issue 2 years ago, and he informed us that he wouldn't be able to continue. Recently, he's recovering. He's coming back to playing drums, which is fantastic, and I keep my fingers crossed, okay?
Okay, very great.
The new drummer is a guy with whom we played one tour right before the pandemic, okay? It was a European tour with Belphegor and Suffocation, and it had to stop right in the middle because of the pandemic. So when we came back home and it became clear that no tour or no festival would be possible for some time, foreseeable future, we decided to focus on writing and composing new stuff. And we just went with the flow. We had a new guy on board, and I started working with him on the arrangements. And after 8 months, I think we were ready with the whole material, ready to enter the studio. And the label gave us a green light, and we started recording. So it was pretty spontaneous process, I must say, and pretty quick. Because if it wasn't for the pandemic, I think it would have taken us more than, 1 year more to come to, to complete the record. But the paradox is the pandemic speeded up this process, and here we are with a new album now.
Very good. I can't wait to have the album in my hand. Okay, to continue, Adam, in 1996, you guys have signed the first contract with this underground label, Novum Vox Mortis, who released the band's first 2 albums, Deamon, Fecit, Terram, that was the same year in 96, and Lord is Avenger in 97 in Poland. How was the band being received in your own home country? Yes.
Well, as far as I remember, the reception was very, very good, actually, and we started playing a lot of shows after release. Those 2 albums, one after another almost, and it opened up a lot of doors in front of us. We started playing outside Poland here and there. So it was like our first step to more professional career. But it also, I think we were not so fortunate at the beginning, we had to wait for our opportunities more time, I think. So I believe the serious part of our career started in 2001 or 2002, something like that, after signing a contract with a French-based label, Listenable Records, okay? And then we released the album Awakening of the Liar, which was like 100% traditional death metal album. And this really made us an international band, I think, established us in this position. And then we started playing more tours and shows outside our native Poland, okay? So Awakening of the Liar, I would say that this was a very important album for our career in general.
We're talking about this type of music that the band started with, this death metal, a very pretty solid one. Yeah. as the bands developed throughout the times, you guys went more over to add some, groovy, a little bit more black metal influences into this solid death metal. This developed pretty much peaked in the 2005 album, if I'm not wrong. Anaclasis, a haunting gospel of Malice and
Hatred.
Hatred, yeah. Why this change into a more darker sounds from death metal to blackened death metal, Adam?
I think that with Awakening of the Liar that I mentioned, okay, with that album, I think we accomplished what was our ambition, record a traditional, like 100% raw death metal album, okay? So after releasing that one, I think we wanted to enrich our formula, to change it a bit, okay? To simply evolve, to develop the formula, right? And then the album that you mentioned, Anaclasis 2005, is a combination of death metal together with some, I would say, industrial sounds and also some black metal riffs are incorporated to the style. And it was also a very important step forward because we simply built something more individual, I think, something which wasn't so obvious to many people back then. And we were exploring some new territories with this one. And I think we continued this direction with Morphosis 2008 and then Erebos 2010. Okay. So this was this, I would say, death metal industrial period with some elements of black metal, okay? This whole period, I think it was a very important period of our career. Actually, after releasing Erebos, we managed to play our first tour in North America. We also visited South America a few times, It was a really important step forward because we then started to be, recognized internationally, like 100%, okay? And then we played even more tours in the North America. 3 tours, one after another, actually.
Adam, talking about tours, different line of changes, numerous of tours and shows, festival done throughout the years, not to forget the early demos, 1 EP, 2 compilation, live albums, and 12 outstanding studio album. Looking back to a very excellent catalog that each album has represented the band at its right moment. How do you feel now of this great achievement?
Well, I feel grateful, I must say. I'd say that the fire is still burning, It's a great feeling to be there. It's a great feeling that we have built a band that survived so long and is still very active. I feel we're creating with ever-growing consciousness, This is very important to me, that we still have something to say. We're still developing. And this is truly important to me. And the band is not just myself. It is also, I think I always stress that this is also like a collective effort, okay? I come up with the main ideas, the main arrangements, and then we work on them together. And then the other guys just join in on different stages, okay? And they identify with the band, will identify with the music, and they have important input in what we do, okay? So this is a real band. It's not just my project or something like that. And touring, as you know, probably is the essence of what we do. And I can't even imagine this band without playing live shows. And I'm looking forward to the first tour after the pandemic, which is coming up in...
Don't say anything, please, not yet. Adam, yes, I must congratulate you because I've seen you guys playing. I have to mention, I can't remember the year, but I've seen you guys at Wacken Open Air. I've seen you guys, if I'm not wrong, at Brutal Assault as well. What I can say is all great live shows. Adam, talking about great success together, with great achievement, but there are also downs, like the night of April 5th, 2013 and the morning of April 6th, the same year, when bassist Slovak Mortifier died in his sleep while on tour near Münchburg, Germany. What are the memories of Mortifiers you guys still keep, and tell us about this 2015 album, Crusade Zero, dedicated to him?
Yeah, well, so this tragic situation you mentioned about, it was the darkest hour in the history of the band, definitely, all right? And actually, Mortifier's passing away, was the main factor that this previous lineup simply broke up after some time, okay? Because there was a very, I think, strong bond between Mortifier and our drummer, Hexen, back then, and Destroyer. We were like, a bunch of friends, close friends, I must say. This was hard for everybody, of course, okay, to mourn over this tragedy and to recover from this tragedy. And the Crvsade Zero was like an album that was, yes, dedicated to Mortifer, first of all, but it was also, you know, I remember we were making it. The atmosphere was pretty sad each time somebody mentioned him. So it was hanging in the air. This atmosphere was still with us for some time. You know, it was very hard to overcome. When I think of Mortifer, I really cherish this great time that we spent with him, the great years that we spent together touring around the world and creating together. It was just fantastic. And yes, it was a privilege to know him, I think. Yeah.
Yes, I was very devastated myself when I heard the news because I was following the band already since a long time. And, you know, I couldn't believe it. It took a long time. This is true. This happened. There was something very devastating for all the metalheads around the world.
Yes, I think it had a great impact, not just on us, but on a lot of people. And as I said, for me, looking back, I think it was a great privilege to know the guy and to have him in the band. And yeah, he will never be forgotten.
Okay, Adam, as I just said, you have worked with great labels. I must mention for the 2008 album Morphosis and the 2010 Erebos was released through Listenable Record. The 2013 Solarflesh, a gospel of radiant divinity. In 2015, the Crvsade Zero and the 2017 Tremendum with Napalm Records. How was your experience working with these great labels?
If you ask me about those labels, Listenable Records first and then Napalm, I think it was a great time each time. I mean, the first and the second label, I really appreciated working with them. Very professional guys. Very important steps forward in our career as well, I must say, okay? So I have nothing to complain about here, if you ask me. And we're still in touch with Listenable Records. Actually, we're making now re-edition of the old Fate albums, like a back catalog stuff, you know, is going to be released. It's going to be like a big re-edition, 6 titles altogether, okay, on vinyls next year.
That's very great to hear, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely.
To continue, Adam, 2 years after Tremendum, the band came back with its 11th studio album, Auric Gates of Veles, that was June 2019 via the prestige Metal Blade record with an awesome tunes like Sovereign, Sanctity, 7 Manvantara, Path of Arcan, Auric Gates of Veles, among others. How was this deal sealed with Metal Blade record and how was the show's tours been for the promotional cycle for this album?
I think that we have always been observed by the record labels, all right, because we were very active, playing a lot of tours and shows. So Metal Blade was asking about this possible collaboration at one point, and I met one representative of the label and we started talking, and then it was clear to both of us that we could collaborate, you know, and it was fantastic because Metal Blade is one of the best labels that you know, in the, let's say, metal world. I'm really happy to be working with them, I must say, okay. Rugia is the second album we're releasing through Metal Blade, and so far so good. The collaboration is just perfect, I must say.
Talking about the new album that will see the light on 15th of October through Metal Blade Record, the second album to this label. And I want to give a shout out to Licia Varela Brenner for this great interview. Adam, please explain us more about the first promotional self-titled track, Rugia, and the official video premiered last 16th of September for the song Surgeon.
Yeah, I think we selected these 2 songs as the first 2 singles, you know, because I thought that they represent the album in a good way, especially Rugia, which is, I think, a typical hate track. And Resurgence is non-typical, you know, hate track. It is something a bit different from the rest of the album. So I thought that it would be a good idea to, you know, to expose this one because, as I said, it is not a very typical hate song. I was really curious how the reactions to that one would be. And we made a video for this. So Resurgence is like a regular video. Rugia was released in the form of a visualization, something like that. But this is with the symbolism from the album, which is also very important. And now, as I mentioned, we just finished editing the second regular video for the song Exiles of Pantheon. Yes, and it is going to be shown in a few days on the day of the release, so Friday. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I can wait this Friday to see this video. Okay, to continue, go to the last part of the interview, Adam, for the new album that the band elected to once again track the album in the Hertz recording studio in Poland, and it was recorded, mixed, and mastered by the brothers Wislaski, who also worked with Decapitated and Behemoth. Please explain how was the work at Hertz recording studio gone, and how was the mix and mastering been this time by the Wislaski brothers?
Yeah, this wasn't our first time in the studio, of course. It was, I think, the fifth album that we made with the famous brothers that you mentioned. Actually, it was quite a lengthy process this time. I think it took us like 5 months altogether, with some breaks, of course. Okay, so it was quite a long process, but this time we were not pressed for time at all. I think it was very comfortable because we had a lot of time, okay, and we could experiment. We could, think about different solutions when it comes to mastering and mixing the album. Yeah, every time working with the brothers is a great time, I must say, okay? Great people who really understand the music. These genres we're talking about, they have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. And yeah, and sometimes, of course, we have some, say, not arguments, but discussions, okay? Sometimes even long discussions. But finally, I think, we got the final result is very good, I think, satisfactory for everybody. The brothers are very happy about the way the album sounds, so we do. Yeah.
Okay, nothing can go wrong when you're talking about brothers Wislaski.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adam, for those dying hard fans that can't wait for this album to come out this October 15th, yes, in how many formats are the album available? And this cover artwork done by Daniel Rusiewicz.
Yes, Rusiewicz.
I'm a very terrible Polish talker.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. Yeah, I think when we talk about the cover, the artwork on this album, I think it very well represents the music and the overall atmosphere of the album, because the cover itself is quite mysterious, okay? It conveys a lot of different messages, all right? And this is exactly what we wanted to achieve with this artwork. It's monumental, it's kind of mystic. And Daniel Rusiewicz himself is the guy we've been collaborating with since Erebos album, okay? So he has been the author of the arts, the layouts of 5 albums altogether right now, I must say. So he really understands the message. He really understands the band. It's fantastic to have a guy like him, in this team around the band, because I think his artwork are simply amazing, amazing. And they match the music very well. They convey the messages that are there. It's fantastic. Yeah, I love it, I must say.
Okay, after 5 albums, he's also a part of the band.
Oh yeah, absolutely, definitely. He is he is an element in the story, definitely, okay? Yeah, also when we talk about the Slavic mysticism and the Slavic mythology, I think he's also one of those guys that is really knowledgeable and knows a lot about this, and communication between us is very easy in this respect. We come up with different ideas, and it really helps the record very much, I must say.
Adam, you're talking about the album. I'm wondering, seeing that, I believe that the pre-order has gone very well. In how many formats are this album still available before it comes out October 15th?
All right. The Rugia is going to be released on vinyl, okay, on CD. Vinyl, a few versions of it, all right. Then CD and also cassette, really. But the cassette is on another label, so it's not Metal Blade, but it is a Rock Mark label from Europe, all right. The cassettes are actually ready. I saw them yesterday, okay. They look fantastic. The very old school stuff looking fantastic, really. And this all be a Rugia in very different formats, of course. It is available digitally as well. This is standard these days.
Besides all the different colors that you guys have put them available, what I don't see here, I don't see like a special package.
Well, actually, those packages are available as well. It's like a vinyl and different versions with a CD and a t-shirt, okay? So they are available under metalblade.com/hate, alright? Right now. And I'm sure there will be a lot more stuff connected with the new album. I'm talking about a collection of merch on our official merch website, which is rockmark.com, and also Animate Records. A lot of stuff are being designed right now, alright? So they'll be coming. They really look attractive, I must say. And they convey this message of the album in a perfect way, in my opinion.
To end this interview, almost I was say that no one combines death metal and black metal quite like Poland's Hate, with unflinching viciousness and a sense of atmospheric unique of the band. On Rugia, their 12 full-length, they pushes the boundaries of their craft and even further. For those out there, please check this album out. It will be available October 15. You can do the pre-order still. Support this great band. Adam, before we end this interview, I'm sure that people like to know this. Are you now endorsed by any brand? Please explain us, if it's so, what type of gears are you now using?
Yeah, well, officially right now, I am not endorsed, for example, guitar company or any other company producing equipment, but I was, for some years, I was endorsed by Ibanez guitars, and right now, I have a very nice conversation with ESP guitars going on right now, so who knows? Maybe I will have a new ESP guitar soon. We'll see.
Using the Ibanez?
Actually, no. Right now, I use two guitars that were produced by the Polish manufacturer Ram Guitars. The company doesn't exist anymore, but the instruments are still there.
You're very satisfied with what you get out of them?
I am. Those two guitars were like custom made for me, especially by this company in Poland. And I think I consider them really fantastic instruments. So yes, I use them on the stage as well as in the studio. Yeah, I'm a happy owner of the famous Ram guitars. There are not so many of them right now, and there will be no more.
Collective items.
Yeah, something like that. I will keep them for myself for sure. But maybe in the near future, as I said, I will have some new endorsement and it will be ESP guitars. Yeah.
I'm looking to see you on stage. Next time, let's cross a finger. I see you either with these collector guitars or I see you with this ESP guitars.
Yeah, those Polish guitars are my favorite right now, okay? But this may change, of course.
Okay, to end this great interview, Adam, besides the great obscene extreme festival in Czech Republic, what are the band's future plans in support of this brand new album? And what other festivals you guys will be attending this coming 2022?
For the next year, we already have 3 full-fledged tours booked, okay? The first starts in February, March is gonna be continuation of the tour with Suffocation and Belphegor that had to stop in the middle, right before the pandemic. I mentioned about this, okay? So this is gonna be like coming back to the same tour. It's like a symbolic closing of the pandemic, I hope. I keep my fingers crossed for this. Anyway, this time it's gonna be more than 30 shows, I believe. So it's going to be a little longer. It's a European tour, except Scandinavia, I think. And then we have another tour with Vader. We play with them in Scandinavia as a direct support. Then we have one more tour in Asia, if everything goes as planned. And of course, there are a lot of festivals on the way, So I'm pretty sure that we will be very active concert-wise next year. And it looks like a busy period coming up, for us. And this is fantastic because I think the songs from Rugia, they really call for proper live shows, just to present them in the proper way together with proper scenography, stage designs, etc., etc. It is all very needed here, I think.
Okay, but talking about presenting this great new album, but talking about the pandemic before we leave, since the shows was stopped in the middle of this cycle promotion of Auric Gates of Veles, are you also gonna continue with this?
Very much so, yes. Our shows will be covering songs from Auric Gates of Veles, definitely, because I think that this album still needs to be promote it as much as possible, okay? And we will be pushing forward. And we are already playing some new songs from Rugia. Yeah, we had an opportunity to play some shows in our native Poland and Czech Republic and Ukraine, some festivals. And we played the Wolf Queen and Exiles of Pantheon, these two, on the stage a few times. And I'm very happy about this. I think, it really sounded very, very good. And I just can't wait to expand the repertoire, to add more songs from Rugia to it. And I think that we will add something from Auric Gates of Veles too. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Adam, I wish you all the best with this great new album, Rugia. I wish you all the best with the band. I wish you all the best with your upcoming shows, with festivals, with everything that you have in mind, in plans. And
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Adam, to conclude this interview, I will hand you over the microphone of Metal Messiah Radio. Yeah, for you to thank whomever you want to thank.
Thank you for this interview. Thank you for having me here. And I would like to greet all our fans and followers that are listening to this. And great thanks to Metal Messiah Radio for your support. It is highly appreciated. And I truly hope that we'll come to the States, not this year, but next year is quite possible. We actually already talked to our American agent and, some ideas are going on. So it's one of our priorities actually to come back to the States. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this very much. I hope that we will meet.
Anybody else that you want to thank, the label or whoever you want to thank?
Great thanks to Metal Blade, I think, for their great support, professional attitude, and also a lot of patience that they have towards us, okay, because we are not very easy to deal with, I'm sure of it, but they are, as I said, they're very patient and they're very professional. And yeah, I would like to take this opportunity and thank them very much for the collaboration.
I hope to meet you on the road in Europe. Yes, as I always say, metal on. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.